Well, hi, everybody. I'm Don Stewart, and welcome to another edition of Breaking News for this Sunday, the 23rd day of June, 2024. And right before I was about to record, another story came across the wire that literally dumbfounded me. I'm kind of at a loss for words, and we're going to start with it and this whole account that's been going on in the last few days about Benjamin Netanyahu, the United States government, and the lack thereof of weapons being sent to Israel as they were supposed to have and absolutely needed, and the U.S. denying over and over again that Netanyahu was telling the truth, that the weapons were all there, they were all sent, that Netanyahu was doing these things for political gain. We don't understand why. Well, we've got to finish to the story here, and this is mind-boggling. Well, let me read it. First of all, headline number one: Israel's defense minister flies to Washington to get weapons that the White House says aren't being withheld. That's from Breitbart. Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant left Israel on Sunday night to convince the Biden administration to release the shipments of arms and ammunition that Israel says it needs and that the White House has claimed it is not withholding. For months, there have been rumors that the U.S. has been slowing down shipments of weapons that Israel needs, not only for its war against Hamas in Gaza, but also for a potential war against Hezbollah in southern Lebanon as well. All right, so the White House then responded, this about an hour ago or so. The White House on Netanyahu: we will not continue to address his political statements. A senior White House official referred to a video published by Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in which he accused the U.S. of delaying arms shipments to Israel and said, "We have made our position clear, and we do not intend to continue to address Netanyahu's political statements. We look forward to discussions with the Minister of Defense in Washington this week." Notice this: we made our position clear. We don't intend to continue to address his political statements. And they were claiming Netanyahu made these statements for political gain. There's no basis of reality, no basis of fact. Why would he do such a thing? Well, listen to this story that just came across the wire right before I started recording here. Headline number two: U.S. officials confirm arms shipments from the U.S. have decreased by 50%. I'm not making this up. In the first months of the year of the war, about 240 arms shipments were transferred from the U.S. Recently, the number dropped to 120. U.S. officials confirmed that there has been a decline in the number of arms shipments from U.S. to Israel in recent months, Channel 12 News reported. This includes one shipment of precision bombs that was delayed. In the first part of the war, about 240 shipments of weapons were delivered to Israel. In recent months, like we just read, only 120 shipments have been delivered, which is a decrease of about 50%. Prime Minister Netanyahu again claimed at the cabinet meeting today, Sunday, that there's been a dramatic decrease in the supply of munitions from the U.S. I greatly appreciate the support of President Biden, he said, and the U.S. administration for Israel. Since the beginning of the war, the U.S. has supported us both in spirit and in material means with supplies for defense and attack. According to Netanyahu, Israel has been appealing to the U.S. government for many weeks to speed up the shipments. We did it again and again. We did it at the highest levels, at all levels. We did it in closed rooms. They gave us all sorts of explanations, but we didn't get one thing. The basic situation hasn't changed. Certain items trickled in, but the great mass of weapons remained behind. All right, so Netanyahu was telling the truth after all. The White House was again caught lying. Now remember, the Biden ceasefire proposal was supposedly an Israeli proposal. However, as Israel complained, this was not their proposal, as the White House continued to say, and the White House would respond and say, "We don't know what Israel's talking about. This is their proposal." Biden is just giving their proposal. And of course, there are things in that proposal Netanyahu would never say. Biden's proposal was basically giving the victory to Hamas. Then when Hamas still didn't take it and asked for so much more of these total non-starters, a White House spokesman said, well, the changes are just minor, what Hamas has asked for. Lies, lies, lies. So I'm really at a loss here, how these people can continue to lie. The administration, Biden administration, the United States of America, the view it gives to the world, the position is obviously makes us laughable, makes us untrustworthy. Like we've said before, our friends don't trust us, our enemies don't fear us, and the rest of the world thinks we're irrelevant. This is precisely what we see right now with this administration. Yes, elections do matter, and this is why we're in the mess we're in right now. So we'll see what happens from here. Will Israel get the weapons after all? They have been shortchanged. And we've said this for months. Others have said this for months, but now administration finally admits it after saying, we have no idea what Netanyahu's talking about, just like we have no idea why he would claim that this is not his proposal. about the ceasefire. Anyway, okay. Headline number 3, Israeli embassy in the U.S. Now, this line here is not real bright. We will not allow Hezbollah to terrorize the people of Israel. The Israeli embassy published a video highlighting Hezbollah's attacks on Israel and stating that the responsibility for the repercussions falls on Lebanon. The embassy wrote, since October 7th, thousands of rockets, missiles, and explosive drones have been launched from Lebanon toward Israel. Make no mistake, we will not allow Hezbollah to terrorize the people of Israel. Now, these are some of the really stupid statements that do come out of Israel's side, the Israeli side, from time to time. And you should have read the comments on the article. The comments basically said, as you just said, they've been terrorizing us for 8 months here. What do you mean we're not going to allow them to terrorize it? And the problem is, as the people who commented spoke, what you're doing is giving these tit for tat, these little pinpoint strikes back. That's not stopping them. If you want to stop someone from doing something, you use overwhelming force, which Israelis certainly have, to teach them not to do this any longer. But they haven't done this so far, and that's why we're in the mess we're in. And so the pinpoint responses encourage them to keep up the attacks. And now we find, after this statement made today, further escalation is taking place in the north. This is headline number 4. Escalation in the north as Hezbollah UAV intercepted near a defense facility. For the first time since the outbreak of hostilities, sirens blared in the Misgav region near a defense facility as Israeli forces intercepted a Hezbollah drone. The incident marks a significant escalation in the ongoing conflict, now in its 261st day. Following hours of calm, alerts were activated in the upper Galilee region. Hezbollah claimed responsibility for launching a swarm of drones toward a base in the Ayelet Hashahar area. The organization stated the attack was carried out in response to an Israeli strike on Sunday at Al-Kahira, southern Lebanon. It said, referring to an alleged Israeli assassination of a key operative. Firefighters in the northern district are tackling several fires that broke out following the impact of the interceptions in the Galilee. The fire department spokesman reported 3 fire sites in Dishon, Misgav Forest, and Ayelet Hashahar. Following the alerts activated in the north, debris from an interceptor struck a base in the Ayelet Hashahar area. As the situation continues to develop, tensions remain high in both the northern and southern regions of Israel. You think so? And so, like we have said and so many others have said, this certainly cannot keep going this way. Something has to give. Hopefully, Israel will respond with the overwhelming firepower that they do have to stop this, and hopefully soon. Why are they not doing it? Is it because the United States is holding them back on this also? Like we said, the U.S. has not only slow-walked weapons, have not only withheld weapons, they've also attempted to tell Israel how to fight the war, how to run it, and slow down their operation, where the operation that's taking place in Rafah right now should have happened about 3 months ago, and it could have, but the U.S., for whatever reason, just didn't want to see it happen. And now we have the problems in Lebanon. Remember, we have the UN Gutierrez, this anti-Semitic lunatic, saying, well, we hope there's not another war in Lebanon now. Hope there's not something like happened in Gaza. Well, when you get attacked, sir, you're going to respond, and you have to respond with force that makes sure the attack doesn't continue and won't happen again. So anyway, this is, again, a really dicey situation. Something has to give, and seemingly sooner rather than later. Now, headline 5 is an interesting one. I'm going to start it with a question. Is the Beirut Rafik Hariri International Airport used to hide weapons? Are they using it to hide weapons? Lebanon's Hezbollah-affiliated Minister of Public Works and Transport, Ali Hamia, held a press conference at the Beirut Rafik Hariri International Airport after whistleblowers alleged that it is used by Hezbollah to store Iranian weapons. Dismissing the ridiculous allegations, Hamia says that his office is in the process of filing a lawsuit against the UK paper The Telegraph, which published the report, and said the details of the lawsuit would be announced later. Hamia then invites journalists and ambassadors to take a tour of the airport's facilities on Monday morning to prove there's nothing to hide, the Lebanese media reports. Now, this is interesting because the Beirut Airport in the past has been a place where weapons have been hidden, Iranian weapons have been stashed. So this claim is not surprising. Evidently, they were removed or being removed before Monday comes along, and they have any press look at it. And this is what Iran does. They've done that with their nuclear facilities. They say, okay, you can have an inspection here. Just give us 2 weeks or 3 weeks here. And evidently here they can move the weapons quickly enough where they won't be there. And so when it comes to inspect, everything will be gone. So see, there's nothing here. The UK Telegraph was lying. Let's move on. This is what Iran is famous for doing. And again, this has happened many times in the past. I remember over the years reporting a number of stories where weapons were found stashed at the Beirut airport, weapons that were used by Iran to attack Israel and attack and used by their proxies to attack Israel. So this afternoon, what we find is the U.S. is lying again. As we mentioned in our book, 25 Signs We're Near the End, the United States is not a player in last days Bible prophecy. Something will happen to it. Well, we're seeing what's happening to it right now. We're imploding from the inside. We're lying about our situation with Israel. And the Bible is still there in Genesis 12, 1-3, where it says God will bless the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and he will curse the descendants of Abraham. Not curse the descendants of Abraham, but curse those who curse the descendants of Abraham. So the bottom line is their descendants are going to be blessed. And if you bless them, you're going to be blessed. If you curse them, you are going to be cursed. And this is something that's been historically true. We talk about it. We give examples of it there in sign number 2 and 25 signs we're near the end. As nations have done to Israel, so God has done to them. We mentioned 5 nations in the past that have been totally obliterated from history because they're attacks on Israel. And we gave a warning there that the United States better watch out, because if we treat Israel like these other nations have and attempt to keep them from doing what, for their own survival, there's going to be judgment comes upon them. Even though they're away from the Lord now, they're in unbelief, they're still in darkness, but there will come a time when they will see the light, and God has strategically put them there. Again, 2 parts, as we mentioned in sign number 4. They've come in unbelief. Later, they will come to faith in Jesus Christ at the time of the end, before the return of Christ. And so we see these things being fulfilled right now in front of our eyes. And now we understand very clearly why the U.S. isn't a player. A couple of years ago, when we made these sorts of statements, people thought we were crazy. What do you mean the U.S. isn't going to be a player? We're the greatest superpower in the world. We're supporting Israel. Look what Donald Trump's done and helping them out. Remove the embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. We accepted the Golan Heights belonged to Israel there after everybody else said it was, belonged to Syria. We've said the West Bank there is not something that's under occupation. And that's true. That's what the Trump administration did after looking at the evidence. And so people assume the U.S. couldn't be a non-player in last days Bible prophecy. But look what a couple of years could make. Look at the difference they could make. And we've seen in these 4 short years that Joe Biden at the helm and his leftists at the helm, what has happened with Israel, what has happened to the United States, and what has happened to our world. And we can go down the list. Afghanistan, the war with Ukraine, none of these things would have happened if Trump were still in office. But again, elections have consequences. All right, we'll see what happens from all of this. As always, we have these resources still for you on our website, Educating Our World, 25 Signs We're Near the End. That's the book you want to get under the banner of Bible prophecy. We have 12 books on Bible prophecy there on the website. Everything's free downloads, 65 books, free downloads, over 400 videos. You can download them all for free and see what the Bible is teaching about God, Jesus Christ, God's work in history, and what he's doing today in last days Bible prophecy. Please take advantage of them. And when you do that, you're going to end up not being disillusioned, not being discouraged, simply because everything is going according to schedule, as dark as it is. And that's why we're optimists here. We smile every day at the end because we know how it's all going to turn out for the good, for those of us who love the Lord Jesus. I'm Don Stewart. Thanks for watching. Until tomorrow, as always, may the Lord richly, richly bless.